What is going on, Patriots fans? This is Jason Cole back with the Patriots Drive podcast. Today, we're getting into our position rankings for the NFL draft, and we're starting with one of the most well-known positions of need for the Patriots going into this draft. Addressed it a little bit in the offseason, but that's going to be the cornerback position with a thin secondary, losing J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore both last year. Does not help. Signing Malcolm Butler and getting a couple young guys healthy can help, but you're going to have to draft some young talent. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe on the video, comment down below which one of these would be your dream scenario at 21, and some are more realistic than others. But let's jump right into this. We're starting off with Florida cornerback Kiar Elam right off the bat. I love Elam. I'm putting him at 5, but I think that he might be a very good scheme fit for New England. Very good length, 6'2", 191. He's played 102 man press or press man snaps at Florida last year. He fits the system. He comes in if New England wants to play press man still and not play more zone, kind of like we saw him transitioning to next year. I think Elam's a very good fit. He has the experience. You're talking about a guy more like Booth that has played press man, not as much, but he's going to have to transition, and I think he has the traits. But this is a guy that's done it. He ran a 4.39 at the combine, came in very good, like I mentioned, 6'2", almost 31-inch arms, and just under 9-inch hands. So tested very well, measured very well, a guy that I think has played at the highest level in the SEC and shown some good things on film. He's guarded some of the best competition over the last couple of years. When you think of the Alabama receivers that have been there, the LSU guys, he's been on them, and he's been able to, play good and put up good numbers. So Kiar Elam's number 5 for us. And I think that he's an intriguing prospect if New England were to trade down and he's somehow still available there, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I think he's certainly a top option for the Patriots, just scheme fit wise in general. Maybe he'd be higher up on this list. This is just our top 5 corners, not taking into account much of the Patriots kind of scheme and how they like man coverage corners more. Obviously, a guy like Elam would beat out another guy that's going to be on this list as well for Patriot scheme fits if they were to continue to play man coverage like they have in the past. But Kiar Elam's has great size, good SEC corner guy, like you said, man coverage guy, and he played at the top competition in college football and thrived. He did really well. So he'd be a great option for the Patriots in the back end of the first round. If they did trade back, say with the Chiefs at 29, the Lions at 32, anywhere back there, if Kiar Elam's still on the board and Andrew Booth and some of these other guys are gone, Elam is a great option for the Patriots, scheme fit wise, and he's got size, length. That's what you want to see for a outside man coverage corner. So Elam coming in at number 5 for us. At number 4, a guy who's less of a scheme fit, but still a really talented corner, Trent Mcduffie from Washington. He's a really talented guy, 5'11", 193. Not as big, obviously, not as big of an outside corner, more of a zone coverage corner, which is a great option if the Patriots are looking to go towards that more of a zone coverage scheme, which we'll see what their plan is. We don't really know what Belichick's got up his sleeve, so that's going to be interesting. McDuffie's projected to be off the board before the Patriots pick. But if he's there and that's the scheme they want to transition to, McDuffie's a great option. Played really well against some of the good competition that he played at times. He only allowed 16 catches from 36 targets for 111 yards with no scores and 5 pass breakups. Great corner. Just not the best scheme fit for the Patriots, but still a guy who has a lot of talent and could have success in this league for a long time.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, not the scheme fit. He took 235 zone snaps, only 60 of the snaps he had this year were in man coverage. So, like you mentioned, not a scheme fit. Tested pretty well, 4.44. The thing that we've kind of been worried about are about Roger McCreary. He comes in with a 29 3/4 arm length. It's a little bit shorter, and you don't have that length on the outside, whether you're playing zone or man. So this is a guy that I think would be great with his speed and acceleration. But now you're talking, he's going to be probably a very effective zone corner, and I just don't know if New England wants to fully commit to moving to that type of scheme. So I think that he can make some noise in the Patriots system, but I just don't think that he's going to be on the board for New England, and they're going to look at something else that maybe can be more of a scheme fit. The next guy is a guy that we have, and a lot of Patriots fans are going to have their eyes on him, and I think that he can, come in and make an immediate impact. That's cornerback Andrew Booth out of Clemson. And you talk about a scheme fit. We've talked about this before, but he's a guy that can come in, and he's played more zone than man, but he comes in almost 32-inch wingspan or arm length. He's 6 foot, 194. He hasn't tested in the 40 or 20 yard dashes any of the, testing numbers because of his hamstring surgery. So that's a little bit concerning. But the way that he's played football at Clemson, started for a ton of years there, been pretty highly graded for PFF. And I think that he's a guy that can come in and right off the rip be a guy that slides into this Patriots secondary rotation because of the lack that we have, and a guy that I think Bill could develop. He was a 5-star coming out of high school, went to Clemson, played there in the ACC, and made some good things happen. So I'd be excited to take Andrew Booth. I think in both of the mocks that we've done that are on our channel, the lives, we've taken him and we've been able to trade down and still get him. So he's a guy we're looking at either at 21 or still that we could trade down and he'd still be within the wheelhouse.
Yeah, Andrew Booth is a top target for the Patriots. Just great corner, immediate day one impact. We've talked about Booth a ton. Like you mentioned, he had a sports hernia, and he also had a grade 2 quad strain, that he had to end up having surgery on. I don't know if it was the core muscle surgery that he had or the quad strain. I'm not sure which one that was for, but that might be something that drops him a little bit. So maybe you can trade back and still get a guy like Booth. Maybe you have your pick of Elam or Booth, and those are both two great options for the Patriots. So I'd be okay with either one of those. Like you mentioned, great number one outside corner traits. Has great feet, solid length, 6 feet tall, not too bad. He doesn't have as short arms as guys like McCreary and Trent McDuffie. And a guy like McCreary was a lot higher on people's boards before he came in with the short arms. Like, a lot of people were saying Patriots target at 21. Great option there, McCreary, but he dropped down significantly with his arm length. And I think Booth is a guy who certainly would fit the Patriots mold and could come in here and be an outside corner, start probably day one, and also be able to develop into a number 1, number 2, whatever, a good corner in our system that could be here for a while. So great option there. Next guy, Ahmad Gardner, aka Sauce Gardner, 6'3", 190, great length, good size, speed, went up against some good competition and performed really well. He's got the alpha mentality for a corner from Cincinnati. That defense was pretty solid. That team was pretty solid. They certainly did a lot better this year than some people expected. So Gardner didn't allow a single touchdown in his career. He's great. Obviously, not a guy that's projected to be in the Patriots range. A lot of people have him as the number 1 corner. Some have him as the number 2. We get him at number 2. Great, talented corner. Could go in the top 10. He's got all the traits, all the tools, the mindset to be an elite number 1 corner in the NFL.
Yeah, and I look at Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. I think it's more of a 1A, 1B type of thing.
Yeah, they're so close.
I don't think you're going wrong with either of them. I think that the frame on Sauce Gardner is incredible, and this is the true corner that you look at. You talk about a guy that would be a scheme fit for New England. This is him. 4th most man snaps. He played the most press man coverage snaps in college football, almost with 397 to be exact. 6'3", 33.5-inch arm length, 9.6 inch hand size, and he still ran a 4.40. So this guy
Impressive.
Tested, measured, played, the stats are there to back it up. Against Alabama, a lot of people are like, okay, this is going to be his true test because now he has to guard Jameson Williams. He's not going to be guarding nobodies who probably won't get drafted in the conference that they are in the American. So I think that he held up against Jameson Williams, and I think that he, like you mentioned, he has that alpha mentality. You kind of look at JC Jackson, who had that mentality like, hey, I'm going to get the bag because I'm the best corner. He's had that. He's had multiple comments in the league to media and, over the interviews. And he's like, I want to be the best corner from day one in the NFL. From my rookie year, I want to be the best guy. So he's someone that I look at, and I think that if New England could somehow get lucky to get their hands on him, it would be a miracle, and it would be a match made in heaven. But you can kiss that one goodbye because, like you said, I think he's a surefire top 10. You look at some of the cornerback needy teams, the Jets could take him, and now you're going to have to face him twice a year. He's going to be able to lock down some guys. So I'm a big fan of Sauce Gardner. And then, like we mentioned, Derek Stingley Jr. at number 1 for us. A lot of people kind of had him falling down the board. I think that his pro day definitely helped him. He came in at 6 foot 190. He has just over 30-inch arms, but he ran a 4.37 40. Something that, when I'm sure a lot of scouts, when I saw that he ran that, I'm like, yep, I think he's a for sure top 10 guy. You look at both Stingley and Gardner, they're probably going top 10 to whoever needs corners and who's ever willing to pull the trigger. on these guys, but he has been recovering from a foot injury. But like I mentioned, the same thing with Kiar Elam. He's come from the best conference, and he's done it for 3 years at the highest level in the SEC. He had 986 snaps in 2019, 420 in 2020, and then this year, obviously with his injury, still had close to 200. And that freshman year in 2019, some of the most impressive cornerback film I've seen, and he graded out at a 91.7 for PFF. So he's a guy that I would love to get. And as there were rumors that he was falling, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I would love it, but I think that after his pro day and his testing numbers, you kind of kiss that one goodbye, and that's another wishful thinking for the Patriots fans.
Yeah, that would have been incredible, but I never thought that was going to actually happen. He's too talented. If he ends up being anywhere near the corner he showed that freshman year, he's going to be really, really good in the NFL. You saw that video going around, the practice footage from him covering Jamar Chase, and he was doing really well. And we know how dominant Jamar Chase was immediately in the NFL. I mean, we see him going up against guys like Jalen Ramsey in the Super Bowl and doing really, really good against him. So a guy like Derek Stingley, that young, that much talent, if he can get back anywhere close to where he was from there and use that as a stepping stone, this kid's going to be one of the best corners in the NFL. He really is that talented. So Derek Stingley, number 1, 1B, 1A with Sauce Gardner. So all of these guys, the Patriots would be happy to get any of these guys. I hope they get one of these guys because cornerback is still certainly a top need for this team going into the this upcoming season.
Yeah, and make sure you guys, like we mentioned, like, subscribe, comment, stay up to date. We're going to have a video and live streams come out where we talk about more of the second, third round cornerbacks that New England could possibly target. So make sure you guys stay up to date because I do think it's possible New England double dips at the cornerback position with the lack of depth. So make sure you guys are staying up to date with that, subscribing to us so that you can catch us whenever we're live, whenever we release videos, and follow us on our Instagrams. But until next time, we'll talk to you later.